is the second day in our bait of Satan. And yesterday we talked about selfishness reigns in our society and how that Jesus said offenses would come. And we know more and more as we come closer to the coming of the Lord that offenses will become more intimidating, more stronger. Today we're finishing up chapter 1 on me offended. So what is offense? It's the Greek word is scandalon, and it means the very piece on a trap that holds the bait. So offense is literally the bait of Satan to trap us, to ensnare our life in a way that we cannot be productive as Christians, that we cannot walk in freedom because we are imprisoned, ensnared by this trap he's laid for us. So sometimes it's kind of good to do like Miss Claire said on War Room. You got to know who your real enemy is. So today we want to talk about the cure. But first, I want us to look at our heart's condition. One way the enemy keeps a person in an offended state is to keep the offense hidden, cloaked with pride. Pride will keep you from admitting your true condition. Now, before you say, well, I don't have any pride. I'm basically a humble person. I thought the same thing about myself until I began to ask the Lord to expose things in my life, in my heart that I couldn't see. The thing about pride is that if God will not let Satan in heaven with pride, he certainly isn't going to let us. But the sneaky thing about it is we can't see it in ourselves. So we have to pray and ask God to show us and to expose those areas in our life. And nobody likes to be exposed. And the reason why is because it makes us vulnerable. We become so vulnerable to the opinions of others, even to our own failures. And so when we ask God, expose the pride in my life, take that out of me, we're not asking him to, stand us up in front of a group of people and embarrass us, but we're asking him to help us to see for ourselves the need for humility. Because again, humility is the virtue that every Christian virtue flows out of. It's the main one. It's the Spirit of Christ. Pride keeps us from dealing with the truth, and it distorts our vision. But the cure, there is a cure, and that's what we want to talk about today. In the book of Revelations, Jesus addressed the church of Laodicea by first telling them how they saw themselves. That was pretty cool. And then he exposed their true condition. So they saw themselves as being good. They saw themselves as wealthy and having need of nothing. And the truth is they were very wretched and poor and blind. And so God showed them their true condition. I don't even know that they asked to see it, but that's not what the case for us. I believe that we want to see. I believe that you and I both want to see, God, what is the true condition of my heart? I don't want to go around thinking like the emperor with no clothes, that, I'm fully clothed and got all this together, when truth was, he walked out in front of his kingdom in his underwear. I don't want that for my life, and I know that you don't either. So that's why we pray these things. God, show us our true condition. Pride will always hide our true condition. But the answer was found in Revelations 3:18, and Jesus instructed them how to break free from deception, and that was to buy me gold refined in the fire. And refined gold is going to be soft and pliable, but when you mix other metals with it, it hardens up. So that's the condition of our hearts. An analogy of our hearts is that if we are not clean and pure before God, if we are not tender before him, if we're not sensitive to his Spirit, then our heart is in a condition of corruption. It has things in there that's hardened it. And that's how we know. It says that Hebrews 3:13, that hearts are hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. But in order to hear God's voice, in order to understand his will, we've got to have a heart that is pliable and willing and open. God sends trials in our life. He allows these offenses to try us, to work out things in our life so that we can see our true self. When we blame others and defend our own position, we are blind. When we struggle to remove the speck out of our brother's eyes while there is a log in our own, It reveals that we are blind, the condition of our hearts. So when we are faced with an offense, our key is to say, God, what are you trying to do in me? Have your good work in me. If we cannot forgive, if we can't move past things, then we know that there's corruption in there that's hardened our heart, that we need to be clear. And one thing I tell my kids on a regular basis, and this has been a hard lesson for me, we cannot help how people react to us, but we can help how we respond to them and respond to situations. Will I forgive? Will I love? Will I allow my heart to stay pliable? Will I be willing to see? Will I be willing to allow God to expose the pride in my life? I want to be humble. I want to be pure before Him. And I believe it starts with a prayer every day. God, clothe me in a spirit of humility. I don't want to be humbled by God. That's an embarrassing place. That's a scary place. But I want to humble myself before God. So today, I want to encourage you that if you're walking through a hard time, and I know we've all been offended at some time or another, we've all faced offenses, but if you're walking through one, I want to encourage you to ask God to expose the condition of your heart to you. I want you to ask Him to shine that spotlight of heaven. Search my heart, oh God, and see if there be anything in me, any wicked ways, and lead me in the way everlasting. God bless. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.